Hello, we are going to set up our gradebook as well as tag Common Core standards that will connect to our formative and summative assessments throughout the school year. We're going to start here with our learning management and choose the class in which you're going to set up your gradebook. We're going to start with mathematics as we can tag the standards directly from the lesson plans within our course map on BCPS 1. So, room 212 mathematics is where we're going. And I want to go to my gradebook. There are some regular setup procedures we're going to go through first before we get into actually tagging and entering assignments. So when you're in your gradebook, you want to go to Options and Grading Settings. The first tab is Basic Settings. In these basic settings, you can choose to name how you want your class to appear on your student's gradebook. Therefore, for example, we have room 212 mathematics. You could have it say mathematics or room, whatever your room number is, and then mathematics afterwards. If you scroll down, you want to make sure that your gradebook configuration is set for classic and standards scale, because that will allow us to put point values in so the children can see percentages, their letter grade, as well as their progress throughout a standard in which are tagged during these lessons. So submit. Okay, our grade settings. All right, you want to make sure that you select the grade scale that is appropriate for your classroom. So it's either going to be BCPS grades 3 through 12 or BCPS K through 2. So I'm going to choose 3 through 12 since I'm inside of a third grade gradebook. I want to go down to leave it on custom, and then I'm going to go to my assignment categories. Yes, I want to weight the categories and name my first category classwork with 75% weight, as well as the unit assessments with 25% weight. As you can see, there is no homework percentage configured this year in our categories. You also want to make sure that you can show the percentages and show points possible, so the students can then see how many points they received out of a total amount of points possible. And I'm going to submit. When I move over to standard settings, there's nothing that we can change. It is actually set by the county, so there's nothing we can do here. You don't really need to look at that. And then teachers is how you can give access to other teachers in the school building. So if you're working with a special educator, if you're working with a student support member, you're able to choose the teacher you want to give access to, share what kind of access you would like to give to that teacher, but do not change primary, because if you click primary, it's going to take away your gradebook and only give the gradebooks to the primary teachers. And then you would add your user. So as you can see, Ms. Todd allowed me to have permission to her gradebook, and I'm the other moderator, whereas Ms. Todd is primary because she is the sole holder and the classroom teacher. So back to gradebook. Now what I want to do is add an assignment. And this is where we're going to think about adding assignments within the lesson planning cycle. So when you go to plan lessons and think about your exit tickets or the way that you're going to formatively assess the students throughout the unit, you want to add a new assignment. And you can even split screen where you have your gradebook here, and then you might want to pull your course map to a new window over here. So this way you can toggle between the two of them. So let's say that we are inside of Unit 1, Mathematics or Multiplication. I'm going to open up my lesson plan, if you will. So my assignment name, as I'm looking here, multiplication as repeated addition. So I might put in there multiplication as repeated addition. My points possible, let's say that I have 5 points on my exit ticket. Okay, then I will continue down to see how to tag the standards. So I notice that I have my Common Core set and I want to tag standards. So over here on my lesson plan, it tells me at the top Common Core and then which standards are being addressed. I want to click on this to see what the standard says. You just kind of hover over it. And you can either search for the standard over here by tagging the standards, or you can type in some of the words that start the standard. Interpret products. You can see that I found the standard. I'm going to tag it. Now, once you tag the standard, make sure that you submit what you are working on. Okay, now that you have your standard tagged, you're ready to add scores to the grade book based on what the students performed on the exit tickets. So when you go through, you could just put in what the 5, 4, whatever it is that they have received. When you also get a grade, if you'd like to, you can add a comment. So you could put with adult support. You could also, when you make the comment, hit space, one space. You could say worked in small group, just so you can see when the student report comes out what went on during that activity. Okay, and you would then save your assignment. So what you end up with is your grade book with all of these assignments. I did put some other test assignments in so I can share with you the next layer of our grade book. So let's say that we want to have an idea of how the students are progressing through the standard as the year goes on. Everything that you tag will show up in the student's gradebook activity. So for Makai, we have his scores in which he received from the exit ticket. You also see my comment of worked in small group. When you go to the standard, now we can see exactly what Makai is working on throughout this unit or throughout these lessons. So we can see that the multiplication and division Common Core standard is here, and we can see that he, according to the scale below here, he's right in the middle there. He just has that mastery piece, so we're really looking to move him through that standard, providing more support to get him to be, whether he's either above mastery or finally at this distinguished level. Another activity that was in the grade book was something based on fractions, and you can see that here he scored and received partial mastery. So you're able to kind of talk about the standards with the student as well with the family to show what does that really mean when I look at my scores and I notice that I am using multiplication as repeated addition. I'm able to give some more information about that standard and become more familiar with that on my own. Okay. I also, when I, oops, let me go back to where I was. Okay. You can also click on a specific activity. So let's say we're talking about this multiplication as repeated addition. And you can look at the standard scores from this screen. And it will give you a nice color-coded list of standards and how the students are performing through that standard. So while we're planning and getting our math lessons together and our exit tickets, it's a great idea to plan with your gradebook in mind as well and have the activities that are named as part of the standard, as well as tagging those standards so you can see the progression of your students over time when entering this information. Okay, finally, since we have added, let's say these are all the activities, there will be more, but these are all the activities and formative assessment opportunities that you've had throughout the unit, and you're ready now to provide a score in the gradebook for the unit assessment that you've given. So you'll add that new assignment. And I'm going to call this Unit 1 assessment. Points possible, let's say that there are 18 points possible. The classwork is now unit assessments. I'm going to save. Now, in order for us to be able to see the standards, we'd have to individually tag every standard within the Unit 1. But since we have all of these exit tickets and all of these formative assessment opportunities recorded, we can see the progression throughout the entire unit and now go ahead and give that final base score to give a unit assessment completion grade. So let's say that the students out of 18 points scored 17, 18, you kind of just go down, adds their scores in as you go. After you have saved your unit assessment score, you will notice that the grade book for a specific student, so I have my grade book where I added my activity. I'm going to choose Kai. And inside of his personal profile, you see his average grade, unit assessments, is divided out from the entire gradebook, as well as classwork. So you can see that all of these formative assessment opportunities have led up to this unit assessment. So you may even want to consider, when you go to name these classwork activities, you might want to put like a U1 for Unit 1, so you know that they're all tied in and connected to that Unit 1 assessment. When you go back to your gradebook, you can see these little triangles in the corner. That just means that there is a message that you typed in or a comment when you were adding the scores in. I forgot to show you that earlier. Okay, let's go back to Mackay. So here is Mackay's report card, if you will, or the information that we've learned about him over this unit. So if you have any questions about setting up your gradebook or inputting scores or looking at the standards, please let us know. We'd be happy to help. Hope this was helpful. Thank you.